for my sins. Hi, everyone. What's up? This is Ruby. We are live. Stop interrupting. This is Ruby. We are live. I have Smeth. Thanks for joining me, Smeth.
I didn't pay a fucking cent for this.
Not yet. You will pay dearly. So, me and Smeth, we're talking about Findom, AGP. We already started in his stream, so.
I don't give a shit how much of a power exchange it is.
But that's the fetish. Do you not understand that it could be a legitimate? Someone can. Who are you to judge if that people use money to get pleasure, to enjoy things, and to get objects? One way of people pay for an experience. You'll pay to go ziplining and do shit like that for the thrill, for the rush. It's the same thing with Findom. The only thing is, it's just so broken down to its core that it kind of makes people uncomfortable because they don't like the idea of anything being transactional in relationships.
It's not just that. No, okay, it's okay. There's two elements. Number one, the easy one, the obvious one is you are in a serious way contributing to people's self-harm, and the only thing that they're getting out of it. How many times are you going to change the camera?
That was the first time. Wow. Well, I did that and did that throw you off. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What's up, Stevie? I got a microphone. All right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to throw you off. Well, all I'm saying is people don't like the idea of anything romantic or sexual being transactional. It makes them uncomfortable. Yeah. Well, and Findom is pure transaction. There's no, like, the transaction is the fetish, which is so just like, I don't know, compact.
Yes. Okay. But also, okay, so there's two layers. Layer number one, this transaction is going to be very exploitative, and it's highly manipulative, addictive, exploitative. Basically, it is on steroids version of the feedback loop from like super chats. Like you get, it's like, yeah.
I don't think it is necessarily. I mean, here's the thing. I'm much more against sex work in general now. I don't think it's a way. I don't think it's fulfilling for women. I don't think it's fulfilling for men. I don't think it's a wise life path to go down if you want positive life outcomes, unless you happen to be like a nympho or someone who has like a very specific kind of orientation that you're suited for that industry. That's great for you, but it doesn't represent the majority of people in those industries.
Yeah. Okay. Self-harm absolutely is self-harm. You're aiding and abetting people's self-harm. It's not a type of.
I don't see it as any worse drinking sugar.
If you are an incredibly rich man, and though this is the scenario where it wouldn't be self-harm, because I'm thinking of an extreme, right? I'm thinking of like just a poor people giving some random woman all of her money, which is probably most of the case. But what if you're a super rich man and you're just giving her a little bit? Well, then it's not fucking Findom.
No, not really. But I mean, what is your like? What are we disagreeing on something?
I'm trying to lay out my two things that are bad. I'm trying to lay out my two things that are fucked up about it. Okay, so one is, I think that is definitely to be financially dominated by somebody like that. That is, I think that honestly should go against, like, that it should be illegal to, like, we made slavery illegal. Like, you're not
but it's purely consensual. I mean, as much as anything is consensual, which you can break that down to infinity.
You cannot make a legal sex contract. A sex contract won't hold up in court. But Findom is like an actual exchange of your like life, your power within society.
I don't think it's intrinsically wrong if you are someone who's financially stable and you get extreme pleasure and you have this kink that you engage in moderation. I'd view it in the same category as alcohol, sugar, weed, all those things that you do for pleasure that can be done to excess. I categorize all porn and sex work in that genre of morality for me, where I think some people do need a release and a companion and have specific needs that their girlfriend or wife might not be willing to fulfill, in which case maybe the wife agrees, hey, if you have this need and you want to go like give this chick $500 once a week or whatever, like, yeah, it's fucking weird. But it's a free country. And if that is what brings someone happiness, there's a lot of things that bring people happiness that I don't understand. It's not really something we should legislate.
Yeah, I don't think that it's Findom. If you are hyper like rich and you just give her a little bit of your money, that doesn't make any difference. That's just being a sugar daddy. That's not Findom.
Well, there's more to Findom, and this is the thing people really don't get. It really, a lot of times, is going hand in hand with another fetish. When I did Findom, it was often alongside a blackmail fetish. So they would tell me some personal secrets about their life, and then when they wanted me to, and it was all highly talked out beforehand, I would I would role play making threats to get money from them, and they loved this, and and it went on for a while, and then it fizzled out, and they probably moved on to some other Findom. But then I also have had people it was a huge issue for, which is
I
why I stopped doing it, period.
I don't like. I'm all for role play making threats, but I don't like it when there's actual money involved. It really changes it from a role play into not a role play.
Well, well, yeah, and that's what makes it even more exciting. But like, I mean,
Yeah, but so
what's
isn't
wrong
like
with
fucking rape
spending to do a
exciting.
role play? Like, is it wrong if I hire someone
But
to
so isn't
impersonate
rape.
a sexy pirate?
Yeah, it's not just pretending to be a role play. I'm saying when you actually are exchanging big chunks of your financial stability to someone else, it's no longer just a pretend. Like it's no longer a
Well, yeah, if
pretend
someone is doing
blackmail.
it, if someone's doing it to the point where it's harming them, obviously I would be against that. All I'm saying is there's nothing intrinsic to having this very specific fetish. It can make people vulnerable to abuse, but there's nothing about this fetish on its own intrinsically engaging it responsibly if a
Yeah,
healthy individual is able to do that, which many aren't. I acknowledge that. But I'm just
I
saying
don't.
it
There
hypothetically
is
could be a
no.
non-issue.
There's no ethical consumption of simptery. Okay,
Well,
and that brings
actually, I
me.
highly disagree because you don't understand. It's like the lonely epidemic is so bad that it's almost better to have someone
Oh
talking to.
fuck! No, the answer to the loneliness epidemic is not
No,
fucking
I didn't
Findom.
say that. I didn't say the answer to the loneliness
It's the
epidemic.
opposite.
I don't
That's
think that at all.
well, then
Hello.
why'd you
All
fucking
I
imply
said
it?
was it's so sad that the state that we're in, that because of the loneliness epidemic, that maybe for some old guy who's dying, doesn't have a wife, doesn't have fucking kids, he's not going to pick up a girlfriend. Yeah,
But
he
he
pays
can
$5 a
pay.
month to talk to some bitch on the internet, and that fulfills his life when he would otherwise be dying alone. I think that you can actually serve a utility in those jobs.
Okay, so you
It's
are
not to
saying it
solve
is,
it's not to solve the loneliness epidemic. I would never say that. That's stupid.
but it just makes it better for the guy who is lonely because of the loneliness epidemic.
I'm not saying it's a solution. I'm just saying I believe in harm reduction. Okay? So a lot of moral positions I'm taking are with the consideration that having a more hardline position could actually be more harmful than allowing a little nuance to it. You
Allowing
know what I mean?
Findom, Findom is it will make loneliness worse. And okay, that brings me to point two. Okay, so point
Okay.
one is that it's unethical because of the domination of someone else financially is just something that should not be illegal. If that's your kink, that's a problem. That's like being into like eating shit. Eating shit can be bad for your health, but it's like worse than eating shit. It's like way worse than eating shit.
So you think it should be illegal is like your
Yes.
position.
Yes. It's like being if you're a pedophile, you can't fuck kids, and if
That's
you
highly different because we allow consenting adults to do things in the privacy of their own home.
rape fetish, if you want to actually rape
All
people, you
for
can't
it.
rape them. Um, yeah.
Love rape
Uh,
fetish.
I mean, like no, I'm saying like to be the rapist, like that, like if someone has a rape fetish and then you rape them, it's not really rape.
Exactly. That's the whole
Yeah.
point. It's like a
Okay,
role
but
play.
I'm saying if my fetish is to go out and rape people that are not consenting, then I can't do that. And because that would be harmful to them. If my fetish is to cut off my own dick and eat it, I should not be
Well, that
allowed
would
to
be a
do
line
that.
that I draw. But when your fetish is exchanging money and you just get it, like I actually get a kick out of just giving people money. I sent someone $40 the other day
It's
because I
bad.
got $200. And I was like, hey, let's get down to zero right away again. When I go to the strip club, it's raining money because it's fucking fun. Fuck off. Don't be a fucking Karen.
Okay. Well, I think that Karen is gonna fucking uh, die at age 80 while And whatever the fuck you're describing is gonna like what you're gonna. Oh, good luck when you.
All I'm saying is that it's not. There is like a utility it serves. People enjoy fetishes. Here's a fetish
But
that
there's
you
a
don't
utility that
personally,
cutting off your dick serves.
and we allow that too legally, actually. So I'm actually, if you had to, put a gun to my head and choose between full bodily autonomy or no bodily autonomy, I'd choose full bodily autonomy, even if that meant cutting off your legs and selling them. I do think that's extreme enough that we could legislate around that. But to legislate around giving money to women, what do you mean? That can't be legislated.
Being financially dominated, like it's not only okay.
What? Write the bill.
Okay. What kind of fucking point is okay? Now, okay, I need to get into point number 2. Okay, because the other reason that it is horrible is because I fucking hate women.
Everyone hates women.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. That Findom is the embodiment of
And there's
the social.
male femdoms.
Yeah. There's not going to be many of those. Not nearly
You
as
just
many.
don't want to cater to gay men because you're homophobic.
Findom sounds like femdom. It.
I know.
I
know they're two different things. I know.
There will be some fucking gay men doing it, but it is the that doesn't matter. It's still the embodiment of the social dynamic where women are the recipient of men's labor, and that's a toxic thing.
That's the natural way, though.
It actually, that is a natural way, and that's why we have society.
That's why you're jealous.
That's why we have society. We have society to protect women and to protect men.
I love that.
Yeah, and so if you want what you are describing society as
to be a woman.
Yeah,
now.
You're saying that society should just be to protect women and not protect men.
We should absolutely.
If we want to protect men too, then
men are allowed to do with their hard-earned money what they like.
No,
that's my.
If we want to protect men, we can't let them literally.
If we want to protect men, actually, what we have to do is restructure the whole fucking mental health care system, bring back the fucking institutions,
random
and just restructure society as a whole so that it's not so alienating.
Sure, we could do whatever the fuck that is, but what I'm saying is one of the
what you're saying is actually more ridiculous than doing what I just said.
Than making
legislating how men give women money. When that's been the whole dynamic for all of human history is men giving women money. Come on, dude.
Yeah. Yes. Just like rape was the way throughout all human history.
Not since we've been civilized, no.
Yes, and so that's why I said the point of civilization is to stop rape and to counterbalance. Oh, I'm so sorry. When you give up rape, you give up Findom. I'm so sorry about that. Oh, I'm so sorry you have to give up Findom.
Write the bill.
What the fuck does that even mean?
That? Right?
How do you, okay, exactly. Okay.
What would that law look like?
It's not the exchange of money.
We're arguing on like 8 different levels, and this is why it doesn't even make sense. Okay, because
you're not listening to me because you keep interrupting me.
We're looking at harm reduction. We're looking at, are we describing reality and not making moral judgments about it? Are we looking at
do you want to make a better society? Because your second ago, your pivot was to changing all of society. So are you for harm reduction or are you idealistic like me? Which one is it? Both. Just whatever's convenient at whatever moment. Whatever's convenient at whatever moment.
That tends to be how I live my life. And I just glide on through. No troubles for me.
Want to give me money? Oh, I guess that's good because if you want to, I'll just take.
I just got a job for fun, just to see what it was like. I might quit soon.
Yeah. No. Oh, I'm
just cosplaying as a poor waitress.
Yeah. Oh my god. Fuck. So we cannot let this be. So it's not just the exchange of money. It is the exchange. Excuse me. It is the.
I don't hear you
if
right
I pay, you don't hear me?
Oh, you cut out for like 10 seconds or like 5 seconds, not even that long. Yeah, I just find out. I don't know why that happened.
It is not just the exchange of money. It is the domination, financial domination. If I pay for nudes.
So do you think domination like BDSM should be illegal?
Financial. I don't think BDSM should be illegal. I think financial domination should be illegal.
It seems like you
To
have
dominate
trouble with the
someone.
domination aspect, and
To dominate someone, okay, let's get rid of the BDSM context. To dominate someone financially is
the
textbook.
context is
Dude,
so critical.
why do you keep interrupting me when I make
I'm
all my
sorry.
critical points? If you take away the bondage fucking element, if the domination of somebody financially is textbook like hardcore abuse.
Well, yeah, of
Yeah,
course. If you were doing that in a non-consensual situation, it would be abuse. Just like if someone came up to me and choked me and it wasn't
right,
during sex consensually, that would be very different. You
okay,
can't just remove the context when it is so
right.
critical to what we're describing.
BDSM, you are simulating abuse, and you're doing things. When some forms of BDSM become abuse, lifestyle kinks can be like come abuse. Financial domination is probably one of the most extreme possible versions of a lifestyle kink beyond becoming a toilet
No
slave.
way. No way. Wait, why I'm curious, what is your education and perception been on this topic?
I have done a lot of lifestyle kink play in my lifetime.
Well, like it specifically with Findom. I'm just curious.
I've never done Findom. It horrifies me.
But where are you getting your information that's feeding this perception you have that it's like the worst thing besides being a human toilet? Because I'm not even trying to be out
You
here
should
being
not
like,
be able
this is
to.
pro sex work. I'm just pro reality, you know?
Okay, so like if
We
you are
quote
financially,
Stephen Molyneux, the late and great. I
without
am
the
an
BDSM
empiricist.
element, without the BDSM element, if you are financially dominating your partner, that is a recipe for like that. If you take that to court, you can like get your fucking way because they're abusing you. If you
Yeah, if it turned into something that wasn't consensual, I think that
yeah,
any adult, if they get ecstatic pleasure from being abused, and that's how they want to spend their preciously finite
right,
life in pleasure, and they happen to get it in this weird way,
right.
I don't think that's wrong. For
I think
me,
you should be
does
able to
it
do
look
that.
like the healthiest, most spiritually nourishing thing you can do with your life? Absolutely not. But there's no way to legislate that. That would be absurd.
I think you should be able to do that with a lot of different things, but with money, that is something that should be now part of the domain of like the government. You're not supposed to, if your sexual fetish is like losing all of your money and being poor so that a woman can
Well,
be,
but that's not
so a
intrinsic to
woman
the
can
fetish
go,
either.
so a
That's not
woman can,
intrinsic. It's about a loss of control. Here, take my
yeah,
debit card. Exploit
yes,
me. Take
yes,
advantage of me.
yes. And
They
if that is your fetish, then the
that's their
government
fetish.
should protect you from it.
And guess what, bitch? It's called making lemonade out of lemons. And I say this to the guys who have the tiny penis humiliation. Thank God for that fetish, okay? Because
You should
otherwise
not
they're
let,
gonna feel entirely inadequate. But they found a way to really embrace their tiny penis and get great pleasure from that. So I say,
what?
go for it.
So it's like, if they're that make you, what you just said makes no fucking sense whatsoever. So if my fetish is cutting off my penis, and I look, oh, that's so lucky for me because I found a way to get to turn lemons into lemonade because I can
Well,
just cut off my penis and now I've got lemonade.
Well, if you have a
Yay!
lemonade and it's actually yay, then that's great. I don't think it would be, but I cannot legislate what another person does with their body
Well,
unless it is
I can.
outrageously, obviously harmful to society as a whole. And I don't see
Findom
Findom
is
occupying.
outrageously
It's not even
harmful
that
to
popular of a
society.
fetish. It's mostly just scam artists on Twitter that are making it
Yeah,
seem like this big thing. They're all bots, just fucking talking to each other. Type in sugar daddy, type in Cash App, and instantly 20
yeah,
bots reply to you, guys and women. Like
yeah.
it's not as big as it seems on Twitter. Trust me. It's a bunch of, like, little scam artists
No,
trying to get
I
people to
think
sign
that
up for Cash
Findom,
App for $5, like,
I think Findom is like
it's like what my
rising
crackheads used to do. I'd watch
Findom
the
is
Twitter.
rising exponentially. I don't even know it from Twitter. I think the popularity of Findom is rising exponentially because it's the easiest way that a lonely man can access sex.
No, no.
Yes,
You're no,
because
you can do it. I can
what
hop
women
on
want.
Chatterbait and talk to a model right now with 10 tokens.
Yes, okay, yes, you can do that,
I don't
but
have to
it
give her
doesn't.
my wallet.
But
You can actually get attention from a woman online for really cheap to free.
yeah, but yours, yeah, but obviously, duh. But it Findom doesn't feel like it's the same type of like exchange for a good. It feels like you are genuinely in a relationship with them where they are dominating you in a specific way that is your
That's
thing.
never how
Like
any
it's like
I'm
it's like it's like so if you want to live a lifestyle kink and like have some like weird like you want to like have a dom woman dommy mommy put you in chastity, it's not going to be easy for you to find a woman to do that. It's hard work. I know from experience. Not all, like so but if you want to if so if you want a woman to dominate you in a way that feels real where you're not just like paying a sex worker for like a day, like you want like a real like a real experience, any
that's
man
called the
has
girlfriend
access.
experience, but they don't go Findom.
Every man has access to that experience with Findom. Oh, just pay her. And all women see like
Is
so
that's not a
so
gate
in
you are
society
I'm sorry
men
to say it, but
are
someone who's been in the industry for over a decade, you are severely misinformed on how these transactions actually
I'm talking
happen.
about the man side. I'm talking about how it feels to be a
You've
man.
never done it.
I'm talking about how it feels to
How
be
can
a
you
lonely man. I've paid for nudes.
Me too.
Okay. So I mean, until I let someone financially dominate
I
me,
haven't actually. That was a total lie. I just totally haven't.
until I let
I swear to
someone
God, that was a
financially
lie.
dominate me, I cannot have an opinion, or until I financially dominate
No,
someone.
you can have
So if
opinion,
we
but
were
I'm just
talking
telling
about
you,
rape,
listen, I am just saying that maybe you could learn something from me as someone who's actually been in the industry. What you're describing doesn't describe my experiences. In any experience in the minority that I did sense it was an issue, I cut them off from that service. And that's how every woman that I know who
you're
is a
not
good
talking.
person handled it in industry.
Sure,
But
you're
there are
not talking
predator
about what I.
women who
Yes.
will exploit men deeply, and it's horrible. And I
You are
condemn that
not
loudly.
talking of what I am saying is that every man has access to this because like so he can have like a real feeling. It feels like a real she is into the same thing I'm into. Like she is actually dominating me in a lifestyle way. It's like we are aligned in a sexual way. This is not just like a fucking sex worker. We are
I
really
think
in it.
the
We're
what if
really
you're
in it.
deep
And,
into
and so let
porn,
me fucking finish my fucking point. So any
I
man has
would if
access.
you let me share my points, which are more interesting
Why
and
don't you
informed.
wait until I finish my point, and then I'll let you give your point, so you can inform me after I fucking finish saying something. So
Okay.
if so, you can get that. Every man has access to that. All he needs is money. It feeds into all the worst like parts of the patriarchy type shit. It's just by default what men are good at or good for is just being a fucking walking paycheck. And if you are a rich man, you will be way more
I'm
attractive to women.
against that.
If you are a rich woman, yeah, rich man, and or a rich woman, to men like me, you'll be more attractive, but to a lot of men, you won't. If you're a rich man, you will be more attractive to the vast majority of
That's
women.
actually a turn off to me. But I know it's broadly speaking, women do want someone who is competent and can
Yeah,
provide for
because
them and a family.
they just want fucking money. And so,
That's not true. Women want
they
love
can.
more than
It's so
anything.
so men are just so desperate to get validation to give women what they want. That
So
is
you
what
think
men,
women only want
because men
that is
as a
so
as a
rudimentary
little
and not
tiny small
interesting.
gamete, you have to fight for the attention of women. So you just by being a pay pig, you found the opportunity to. I finally can give a woman what she wants, and she'll let me give it to her. She'll let me give it to her. I've succeeded as a small gamete. I'm in burst a load. No, we need to protect men from that. Just like we are protecting in society, protecting the large gametes from rape from us, from the men. We should protect the men from having to like go through that. That's such a fucked up world to live in.
Okay, but that unfortunately, the world is beyond fucked up in so many darker ways than that.
Make
But I agree.
findom illegal.
It's not ideal, but what I would argue against is outlawing it. I wouldn't even encourage it because I view it a lot of these really intense fetishes. I view in the way I've seen it affect men is similar to the way that like fentanyl affected me, where it becomes an addiction and a pathology that ruins them. That does happen, and I'm against it, but I just would not legislate anything around it, and I wouldn't morally condemn anyone on either side of that situation unless it was someone knowingly exploiting another, in which case I would entirely
Well,
condemn any woman for that.
that would be all findom. So
So you think I was like that?
yeah.
I'm telling you I wasn't. So you think I'm lying?
No, I think I'm saying definitionally by my definition. I wouldn't throw you in jail. I like you. You got spunk. I like that I can scream at you. I was telling my chat before we came in here. I was like, I've been it's been hard for me to find someone to talk to about this because I know it'll be like I don't want to just like scream at someone and
I
make
get
them.
hyped up too, and I
Yeah,
enjoy getting hyped
I
up.
like you, but and I want to throw you in
Thank
jail.
you,
But
thank
yeah, I
you.
do think that was
But
exploitative.
I know. Well, and I actually, when I was psychotic, the first thing I did was I made a post on the Jordan Peterson and the No Fat boards, and I said, "I am so sorry." I had this profound, really profound, like I was crying, this profound spiritual like experience, and I was just saying, "I am so sorry if I ever exploited your loneliness. Like, I know how horrible that feels, and I'm so sorry." Like, I had this very like genuine apology, and it went like semi-viral, and I got like a lot of love back for it, you know. So it's something that's been on my mind, that what I view it is, I viewed myself as someone perhaps with the ethical status, a status of like a drug dealer who's also addicted to drugs, you know. But even in the midst of that, I did really try to be cognizant of not ever exploiting anyone, because consent and honesty is always like very important to me.
Findom is sexy because of everything I said. I
I
still
never
think it
got
should be
any kind of
illegal.
kick out of it. For me, it was like
No,
transactional, and
yeah, yeah,
I
but
did
that's
it. I
because you're the
stopped
one getting the
doing it
money.
because honestly, that I had one client in particular who I saw the fetish get out of control, and I stopped it like after that, and have been weaning myself out of that industry entirely, aside from like a handful of sugar daddies here and there. But who
Race play
doesn't?
is fine. Findom is not. Race play is the embodiment of a social problem in a fetish. A lot of black people, a lot of black men are into race play. Okay,
Yep.
but it's okay because there's no permanent effects. If a white woman calls you the N word, then that's not going to
Just
last.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's
Don't
not
say it.
going to
I've
like.
already shadow
It's
banned.
not like
Okay.
you are now like you branded like with a fucking thing on your forehead. But giving somebody like a big chunk of fucking money is like a harm that's been done to them. So I think that when a social problem gets like compacted into like something like that's not and this is a not this is a big social problem, and it's something we need to protect men from. And I
Oh,
think that horny men horny men are absolutely the most exploited class. They should be a protected class because horny men are retarded and the most by far exploited class in all society.
I wouldn't say by far the most exploited, but I would agree
By
that a
far.
horny man is a vulnerable man because it intoxicates you in a way similar to any psychoactive chemicals. You lose your ability to reason with
The
yourself and to
shit
make
that I've done when I'm
choices.
horny, I have done I've done unspeakable things.
I know I've seen people ruin themselves horny, ruin
I've done that.
families. Like it is a powerful experience. And I do think a lot of women aren't empathetic. I think I can relate to it more because I through doing drugs, there's certain drugs that increase your sex drive to the point where I was like, whoa, I kind of understand being a guy, just be like, I'll stick my dick in anything. Like I got to that level on drugs. Luckily no one was around, so I didn't stick my dick in anything, but you know, I could get there mentally to the point where I was like, it was annoying to me when I was trying to look on Twitter to fight with people, and I kept seeing sexy boobs and butts turning me on, you know? And I was agitated that I had no control over the situation. And that was relentless. Everywhere I go is sexualized, even like a cartoon. It's all too sexy.
Mm.
Too
Skill
sexy.
problem. Skill problem. This is okay. I've gone on Tinder dates with women who are going like who are like starting testosterone. Okay, they're starting to be a trans man or whatever.
I feel like
And
it's probably
I've talked about this. Like I've been always been like when I learned that I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm taking advantage of you. No, is even though I like you, it's not. And plus, your body's gonna change, and that doesn't feel fair to me. But
mm.
it makes them super horny, and yeah, it's like skill issue. I fucking yeah, just jerk off and then live with like
No, because
I
you don't
don't.
understand. Like I would jerk off. I have jerked off for over 16 hours in a row, to the point where I was physically in pain.
Well, you've had serious addiction problems, right?
Stop thinking about whatever you're thinking.
I was thinking.
I have had serious addiction problems,
Yeah.
but when I was using, and like amphetamines or crack or any of those kinds of like uppity things, it does increase your sex drive a lot. And then you're not sleeping and you're up for days and you can really hurt yourself. And watch a lot of porn where I'm like, wow, I just watched some like 18-year-old crackhead get railed and she was crying at the end. And I feel very bad now. Yeah. So all I'm saying is that made me more empathetic to the male experience. That's the moral of the story. That's why I'm saying any of this.
The choppers are coming.
Can you hear him?
Very empathetic to the male experience.
Well, do you think not?
But Findom is okay.
What do you think I mean when I say okay, I'm not saying this is beneficial to the male or the female. What I'm saying is that I would not to take any kind of moral judgment on anyone who engages in those things
I'm
because I
not
think
saying
it's
no, I'm not saying
complicated. And I also would not ever attempt to legislate transactions between men and women because that creates a whole host of issues and it would be
okay.
completely impossible to legislate. So it's a complete
We go, it's
non sequitur.
impossible. I don't believe that, but there's a couple of things. Okay, I don't think we should shame the men that do it, and I don't think we should shame the women that do it either, because they're both just doing what's natural. It's like that's just they're doing what society's telling you to do. Get paid by men, give women money. Everybody wants you to give women money. Everyone wants women to get money from men. All women want to get money from men. All men want to give their fucking money to women. So that neither of them should be shamed. We should just like not like protect them. And I guess you have a libertarian approach to this. You know, they're coming to get you. I can hear it right now. For being
Really?
like, I got yeah, yeah.
I actually do have a lot of helicopters nearby. I live near a hospital, not the self docs. But
Oh, well, I hope you don't I hope you don't get a I'm your Findom now. Give me all your
this has
hospital
not
money.
been very lucrative for me. Come on, super chats. JK, I'm completely demonetized. It's just a passion project, man. What's going on in your mind? I feel like I lost you.
I don't know.
Well, all right.
You're
Track
good at
the
losing
Finom.
me.
We're not going to legislate it. That's dumb and retarded. Next. I'm
Okay,
sorry. That was
why?
rude.
And so I just think you have a libertarian opinion about this. Like, just
I do, but I would draw the line at like I think like selling body parts because I know when I was extremely desperate for drugs, I would have sold toes, fingers without a hesitation, probably. No, I know
would
for a
you have
fact toes,
would
absolutely.
would you have exploited men?
I actually always tried really hard not to exploit men,
This is the
but
thing. This is the thing. If if this was women, we would be like, women are being exploited. We need
yeah,
to
because
protect
everyone
them.
thinks women are being exploited when they breathe.
Yeah, and
We're completely
men are
infantilized.
actually being exploited, and this is like an extreme red flag, red lights, like brr, 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 exploitation, abuse, like financial abuse, like brr, 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 and it's like
I
who
mean,
cares? It's who cares? You can't stop it.
I just
It's
don't
the
think it's the
natural
more
way.
I think what we could broadly be more maybe how get somewhere further on is like with like porn and those relationships in general, because breaking it down to one specific fetish that goes hand in hand with so many other fetishes, it's like it would be really tricky to untangle all of that. I mean,
I hate the monetization of female sexuality in general. And
true, it's not ideal, but it's also kind of the most natural thing in the world ever since we invented
no,
money.
no,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
If you
sure.
want to
Yeah,
break
but
it down to like the
it's not.
woman is the egg, the man is the sperm, and
It is
the
not
egg sits
love.
back and lays the fucking egg, and the
It
sperm
is
goes
a
out and gets,
substitute.
you know,
It's a
whatever.
substitute for love.
True. And I brought, that's why I have done more streams talking. I did a very long stream with Fairy Queen, who's against sex work, about all the dark, horrific things I've seen in this industry, because I do think it's been glamorized. So now I speak out against it. I think it was a horrible choice for me to make when I was young. Brain not even fully developed, decided to put my nudes on the internet, and once it was out there, it was out there. So it was like, well, it's out there, but now there's thousands of videos of me doing all kinds of weird shit somewhere. And I just have to live with that. And I have to live with like the consequences. I have like a stalker who found some nudes and has threatened me with them and knows my family. So it's like there are consequences, and I've felt them. But the biggest consequence for me was the fact that I wasn't doing something with my mind or my spirit. It was a completely robotic, transactional sexuality. I mean, there was fun elements to it,
Don't
but
you say that
overall,
about
it
your
was
pussy.
not. I was in a really dark place when I was a cam model full time. I became agoraphobic, and I see this happen to a lot of young models, and you can't relate to the people around you anymore who have normal jobs. You can't talk about it with most people. Even if they're open minded, they don't understand the experience. It's extremely isolating.
Yeah, but the isolating part, the rest of it, but the rest of it, I'm not gonna like. Oh yeah, obviously that's horrible. The isolating part, I don't think that's fair. That that part is just if the only thing that's wrong with it is that it's isolating, then we as a society need to get the fuck over it and stop treating them like shit. Other than that, like the other shit,
Well, no, that's
like
absolutely not the only thing. I also don't think it's
right,
serving society in any beneficial way. I view it as, like I said, drug dealing. Like, I could hate my drug dealer because, to an extent, yes, he was giving me fentanyl. I could have died, but I also empathize with the drug dealer because I knew he didn't have many options in his life. And it's really hard to be, 40 years old and turn your life around, when you have like seven
yeah.
kids, too. Like,
Here's
I
my
just,
problem with
I'm
here's my
pro
problem with
nuance.
here's my when you say that, I feel like it's just thought terminating. But anyway,
Not
my
at all.
problem
It's thought expanding. It's the opposite of thought terminating.
when you fuck, my thoughts have been fucking terminated.
See, you brought that on yourself.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not
damn.
saying that there are a lot of the thing. I'm very much, yeah, I would say very libertarian in what I think people should be allowed to do and what we shouldn't judge people if they are doing, because life is very complicated and very hard. And it's kind of dark to think, but like, when I see a homeless person on the street and I know, like, if I give them money for drugs, or if I give them money, it's going to go for drugs. But sometimes I do it anyway because I think that's the only comfort in their life right now. And that's really fucked up. But that's
No,
the
you're
reality that we're
no, so
in. So I
yeah,
view it as
I don't
in the same
agree.
moral standing, but I wouldn't put it in the same legal standing as drug dealing.
I don't agree with that moral philosophy or axiom where like harm reduction, like oh you give the homeless person drugs because that's the only thing that is good for them in their life. No, I think
No,
just
because
no
they literally you can have a fantasy about how fucking it easy is to get clean, but it's actually really hard, especially when you're a
no,
homeless
yeah, I
person
didn't say that.
and
It
not
is
like a
very hard.
privileged
Yes,
white girl like me.
I think it is very, very hard, and I think that the harm reduction
So
shit
they
makes it a
literally
lot harder.
no, the harm
And I
reduction
think
is saving fucking lives. Methadone saved my life and people shit all over that. Okay, you're out of your depth
okay,
on this,
I don't okay, so without the like so you're right. But also and without the methadone, there is not like a good system to actually like help you.
There is not. Unless you have
Addiction
$80,000
recovery.
to go to rehab, you're going into a detox
Yeah,
that's worse than jail.
and even yes, yeah, but even okay, that is awful. But even the rehabs don't work, and the actual recovery rate is very low, which makes you don't give up what you have now because
I know.
you
I actually was offered drugs the other night and I politely declined. So
good.
I know. I'm feeling.
But
I feel
it's
pretty sour.
incredibly unlikely that people don't stop. And that's because I think that we completely tackle addiction completely wrong. Um,
What ways do you think we do it wrong?
okay, addiction
I agree, but I'm just curious.
addiction is a personality type. once you become addicted to a substance, this is my personal. When you become addicted to a substance, your brain, your personality revolves around that addiction. So
Mhm.
if you go to rehab, like a really fancy rehab, and what they do is they take away the drugs entirely from your life. And they're like, this is how you can live and you can function. And we'll like, we'll like teach you like coping mechanisms for not having it and shit. Once you go back out into the real world, you're going to see the drugs and you're going to just do it again because it's part of your personality. So what I think should be the
Not
case is
necessarily.
I think that's 90% of the time, like
But still,
statistically.
but that 10% is a profound amount of people that matter.
It's not, I
So
don't know.
even if that
What
is our success rate,
I'm trying to tell
obviously there
you,
needs to be more
that's
research
that's
into what
not good
health
enough
and,
to go. That sucks.
No, as
And so no,
absolutely not a
that
good
it's
rate.
90%.
But I'm just
For
saying
the
that
it's
but even
90%
if
for
it's
the
only
first.
saving 10%, then I would say rehab is still worth it. Even if
It's
it only
90.
saves
It's
5%.
90%. It's 90% for the first like 2 years, and then for like or like I don't know if it's like 2 years or 1 year or something. It's like like a period of time, and then relapse is like 98%
But that
after like
doesn't
a
mean
bigger
that the
period.
recovery like, I relapsed, my
I want to
recovery wasn't
finish
a straight shot.
the way
I
that I would treat it is, so instead of going to rehab and you take away all of their drugs and you don't have like you teach them how to function in a world where there are no drugs. I think when you go to rehab, there actually should be drugs there, and
there
you
are.
should like so if you go to rehab for crack, there should be crack there. And
That would be great.
you're and they're supposed to teach you how to not smoke it and how to associate smoking it with the negative outcomes that so the negative outcomes of the drug use become something that is
Mhm,
part of your life that you like just like if you're a victim of abuse, you end up seeking out more abuse. The negative,
mm,
like the shitty situations you find yourself in when you're a drug addict become because I've known drug addicts. They're like, I loved the depths that I would go to. That was
mhm.
exciting. I missed that.
It
That
is, I
yeah,
can get that,
you
yeah.
need to learn how to associate that that the pain of that with the drug and in a new way that you weren't we're not teaching people that in rehab. So the way I would do it is probably completely different.
Well, how long would that rehab program be?
Like a couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, that's what really it takes is long-term programs, which are often very expensive. But like if you go to rehab and go into sober house and get in a program like there are a lot of people who recover, it's just it's really unfortunate that right now it's actually fucking hard. And it's been a huge struggle for my family. 3 out of 5 family members are addicts. So we've had many attempts at going into rehabs and detoxes where when you're an addict and you're ready to get clean, you're ready today. I need to go today. I'm in withdrawal today. I need medical attention today. And then you have to call 800 fucking places, whip out your fucking insurance info that
Yeah.
you don't even have because you're too broke, and then pay probably $60,000, if you want to go anywhere that isn't absolute fucking hell. Like I forgot where I was going with that, but it's the
Yeah, it
options
sucks.
available are hard to get in and they're horrible. I would when I one of my rounds of like trying to get clean a couple years ago, I went to like 3 different detoxes and I broke out of each one in a state of frenzied state of absolute like torture. Like it was very dramatic each time. And these places were horrific. And I just remember the stench of just human vomit and diarrhea when you're fucking detoxing, shaking. They won't even give you a fucking Tylenol. It's really
And you're
unpleasant.
associating and you're learning to associate not being on the drugs with just a fucking awful environment and everything too. Like,
Exactly, that's why it's so important to get long term so you can see for me, I didn't really start enjoying sobriety until, like, 6 months in, and I'm not even sober, I still drink sometimes and smoke
you said that
weed,
you
but
smoked weed.
from
Yeah.
yeah, I smoke weed and I still drink, but that feels very sober to me compared to smoking crack and doing fentanyl all day.
Yeah.
I feel, like,
Yeah.
very shiny and
That's a
sober and
step
clean right
forward.
now,
Yeah.
and they're not my
Yes.
drugs of choices, so I don't like, I've had a bottle of vodka in my room for, like, 3 weeks, it's not my drug of choice, really. Um,
The
but I
weed
like
is
having the
less.
option because it's really hard to be full on sober. It can be rewarding, but it's just really hard, especially, when you still want to be included socially and everything revolves around going to a bar or a show or whatever. It can make sobriety. For a long time when I was hardline sober, I would isolate. That was the only way I could maintain full sobriety, was if I removed myself from every tempting situation.
Yeah, and that sucks. And then then when a lot of people, I think the way rehab works and the way we do it, people, their solution is just stay super busy because they
Mm.
because if you stay busy, then you're not gonna have the thought because you're thinking about something else. But that's that's not a good solution to me because like that you need to be able to look into the abyss, and that's what I think.
It's just not possible for everyone. I mean, I think the best bet for the fentanyl crisis right now is maintenance medication. I was clean for 8 years on Suboxone, you know, like I was totally fine. And then the second I went off Suboxone, I happened to reconnect with an ex who did fentanyl. So that was very unfortunate. And since then, I've been on methadone and I've been doing really
It's
well.
always the case. It's always fucking exes and shit that yeah, I hear that a lot.
I don't even have that many exes.
Yeah, but I just know so many people, men and women, they just, I'm like, "Why do you keep these people in your fucking life, dude? What the fuck?" And,
Well, my best friend was an ex from like over 10 years ago. And then who else? Oh, and then I had joint custody of my dog for 7 years with my ex,
I've
and we
watched so
maintained a
many
relationship.
people, I've watched probably 5 people in my lifetime become clean and, rise out of, like, a hellish existence,
Mhm.
and then they're happy and they're functional and they're doing good, and as soon as they're doing good, their ex comes back into their life,
Mm,
and then they're, like, coming by, and
yep.
it's just and it's
Relationships can bring I've been brought down by a couple
that
men before, so
that person needs to disappear forever from your life, I
mhm.
think.
Well, that's an easy it was a total fluke that we reconnected, so I'm not around these substances, and I'm not seeking them out. The only drug I crave is, like, crack, because 'cause I'm on methadone, but that doesn't really and that's the only thing I did relapse on, I guess it was a few weeks ago. I, got blackout drunk and then just walked into the night and found crackheads and bribed them to take me to their crack dealer and ended up at some crack house till 8 in the morning, and it was very unfortunate, but that's the only drug that, I wasn't getting shit-faced me, like, "Where am I gonna find fentanyl?" Because I know that's just instant death. Crack is instant financial ruin and humiliation and embarrassment, but
I
and
think
also
it's
potential death, but
I see what happens to drug addicts the way I look at what happens to men who are addicted to Findom or have a
mhm.
Findom fetish.
I see those similarities, and I flirt with the idea of being, pro legalizing all drugs to an extent, or at minimum decriminalizing, but if there was a way to control the quality and strength, because that's what's happening is, and thank God I was not, a big on needles, it was not my preferred method, but a lot of junkies overdose because they don't know how strong the bag is. They get a different stamp this time, and it's car fentanyl. It's not regular fentanyl. Like, they just keep making it stronger and stronger, mixing it with xylazine and other animal tranquilizers. People
Yeah,
are dropping dead.
that
There was, I
shit
think,
makes your
20
limbs
people died in
fall off.
my neighborhood just in the last few years. My neighborhood, my few block radius, 20
Yeah.
people. It's horrific. It's absolutely horrific. So, you know. And Stevie says you didn't get addicted to it when you last tried it, so it wasn't a complete relapse. See, so I still feel like I can say I've been clean for like 9 months, because my main thing was the fentanyl, not even the crack. Have you ever struggled with addiction?
Me?
Yeah.
Uh, Not drug addiction. I've done a lot of weed edibles. I guess
Mm.
at points you could say it was an addiction, but, uh, that's not that bad compared
Well,
to
your
other.
drug of choice seems to be like sex and fetish,
No, but those are never been I never have, it's
but they
always
never
been
got out of
within my
control.
yeah, it's always been within my
Oh,
control. If it's ever out of your control, it's a problem.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Um, like, what, so in a Findom situation, I would have like less of a problem with it if I imagine it like you have a safe word, and when you give the safe word, you get all your money back. But that's not how it's gonna work.
I think that actually would be a good
Yeah,
um a good in between of our two
but
positions.
that
I
would
could
go
get down
against.
with that.
Why would women do
No,
it,
well,
right?
because you're thinking that no matter what, a man can't truly consent to this. I'm operating under the assumption that there is a man out there who could potentially consent to doing this in a moderate way, and that would be a good safeguarding tactic
I
to
don't
have him
care about
sign
him.
something to get all the money back. I would do that.
I hate him. I don't care about him. I don't. I think that he. I think that those the way. So the difference between ethics and morality. Morality is what he thinks is right and wrong. Ethics is if you do. So if I whoop out. Let's say that this is like not a stream. We're just having a conversation. I whip out my dick. All right. The first time I've ever meet you, and maybe you're cool with it. Ethics is like if there's a decent chance that you're going to cause harm to somebody. Maybe that's like a weird example. Let's say
Mhm.
like whatever it is. Um, yeah, yes, like just like slapping people on the ass in a club. It's
Mhm.
unethical to do that, even though some women might like it, but we still don't
True.
do it because it might. There's a good chance that you're going to cause harm to somebody. So we don't do it, and that's why I think that we shouldn't let like Findom. The chance of harm, I think, is like well above 50, like probably above 70 or 80 or like 90. Like it's almost definitionally
Really?
harm. Yeah,
I guess just
def-
in my experience, I came about it like I kind of stumbled upon it, the fetish in general by accident, just through going on the hashtags and looking into it and having different men request it. To me, it always seemed like a very, very specific kind of subset of a fetish that wasn't very prevalent. It actually was repulsive to most men. The idea of just
it's
giving a woman money. I don't think that turns on most men when it's that
it's no
ridiculously
I,
transactional.
I think it does sort of, but it's
Tell
just
that to all my exes.
no no no. It does sort of, but the thing is that it's so horrific because it bring it to think of Findom brings up a whole bunch of resentment towards women, and you're like, fuck you, I don't want to fucking do that. But that's actually what you're doing with your whole fucking life, isn't it? So you're already doing it. You don't want to admit it, but that's what you're doing. So you just don't want to admit it. And the men that are into it, they're admitting it. Um, so, but the thing is, like you said earlier, it's getting mixed in with basically every fetish because these
It is.
entrepreneurs, these young and talented pussy entrepreneurs are fucking innovating, and it now is part of every fetish.
Really? I did
Yeah,
not see that in my experience as someone who was in the industry. Maybe I was just inoculated from it
send
in the way that I
send
sift through the clients that I work with,
send. I
perhaps because I don't go for people who seem vulnerable.
I commissioned like a portrait from Shaylin, and
Uh-huh.
something she said triggered the fuck out of me because she
What?
said send, but so the way she said it.
Oh, no. See, I was never lucky enough to get it that easy. Oh my gosh. I had
And
to
I
do
was
like
like,
a
"I'm doing
whole
this on purpose.
role
You
play that
fucking,
I find so antithetical to my morality to
you
do that, you
fucking
know?
do this on purpose. You fucking Shaylin. And did you say send on purpose like that?
And
Did you fucking do that to me? That is uniquely. I was like, oof.
so is that like your
Look at
shadow
the
self, your
vein.
darkest
Look at
fear?
the vein on my fucking
I
forehead.
know. Wait, really, truly. So is your like
Um,
your worst conception of an existence for yourself would be someone completely enraptured and lost in findom, working relentlessly and just sending
not,
money, like living on the street. That is that your like
it's not the
most
worst
worst
existence.
existence?
It no, but the thing is that is an extreme of the archetypal within our current society, not like a
Mhm.
traditional within our current society. That is the
And you view
extreme
sugar
of
daddies as
that
findom.
is the extreme
In
of
a way,
what
it's almost the
that is the extreme
dominating
of
of the
what it means to
woman
be a
to
man.
ask her not to work.
That is what it means to be a man. Most financial buying purchasing choices these days are made by women. So they market everything to women. All the furniture you buy, all the housework you do, all the fucking knickknacks around your
Yeah,
house,
because
all the
men
food that,
don't
all the
have a
food you
fucking backbone.
no, it's not that they don't have a backbone. It's that they feel accomplished because they've competed and they've won a woman. And so all of my work, all of my money has come to this. I finally deserve to have a woman spend my fucking money.
I just don't think that's I mean, I'm not a guy, but I do know a lot of guys, and I
They
just
don't
don't
think that
find that to be very
consciously.
representative of
No, no,
any male
that's not.
experience that I've encountered in IRL.
That's because
Only on the
nobody.
deepest
Yeah,
corners of the internet.
I didn't. You don't know what the fuck I'm talking. I'm not saying that men think this consciously. I'm saying that men that is what it means to be a man, and men resent it when you tell them about it because it's their reality. If you bring it up to men, they're
I
like,
don't
"Fuck,
I just think I view everything as, like, from, like, an evolutionary lens, like,
yes,
yes, we
exactly.
evolved in certain
Evolutionarily,
ways,
it
but
is what we're doing because we're the small gametes. We have to compete, and so
you're
so
you're
so if
such a
we go
complex about being the
evolution,
smaller gamete.
if we go evolutionarily, then rape is natural. Rape is
I
as natural as competition is amongst men. So they're like basically the same two sides of the same coin. Rape and male
mm,
competition. So
I
I
don't
think
think
if
that's
we're going to
that
protect a society from one, we have to protect the society from the other one, and we're not. So the way women rape men is still living strong, stronger than ever.
women rape men by forcing them to have sex with them, not by
I don't mean literal
engaging
rape.
in a fetish and role play that happens to involve the transaction of money.
Oh, my affection to you is completely transactional because you got to compete.
It's
And
not an ideal or
yeah, it's
good
it's
scenario, but I
it's
just
water
don't
rape.
view it as something we
It's
could
rape.
ever possibly legislate in a productive way. Usually, most
Freedom's legal.
legislation around sex work completely backfires. Like, you have to think it through, man. Like, think there
Just
are,
because
like, other unintended consequences and stuff to, like, and
this
also
is
you
not
cannot
something where there's going to be
legislate.
sex fucking. This is not going to be fucking like
Smeth,
human
you
trafficking.
cannot
This is not the
legislate.
repercussions are not going to be human trafficking. It's like I hate the argument. This like fucking. I hate this argument. They do it everywhere. Like, oh, it's just if you legislate, if you make that illegal, well, people will do it anyway. So there's no
Well,
point
no,
in
no, no,
making it
that's a
illegal.
bad
Just
argument
make
and
it
not the
illegally.
argument I'm
You'll see.
making. I'm saying that it would be completely impractical to write a law legislating the amount of money and the context in which men are allowed to give women
Sex work
money,
is
because
already
that's
illegal.
what that is.
You can easily like no
There's
matter
no
how
way to
you
write a law that
but no matter
specifically is
no
like,
matter how you legislate it, you can always work around it. You can always say so like I'm not you're not findoming me. I'm just paying for you to to do a blink 3 times. I'm paying you $5,000 to blink 3 times. Okay, like oh yeah, I wasn't findoming you. I was paying for you to fucking blink. You can try to work your way around it. But
yeah, see, so that's why it's, like,
but in
completely
fact,
pointless to even talk
a
about
lot of
legislating it,
no, but in fact, a lot of laws are not so
unless you're just saying it
retarded.
to show, like,
People,
how strong
if
your
you
conviction is that it should be
if you
illegal.
watch, because I love the show Saul Goodman,
Oh,
Better Call
Better
Saul.
Call Saul? Yeah,
Better
yeah.
Call Saul. Okay, that show is not even that bad, but if like shows like that and worse than that, you'll get this impression of law like it's like oh Simon didn't say it's like it's you're like oh by the letter of the law technically no and like a real court of law like if you were to legislate against Findom and you're like, oh, I paid her to blink 3 times, they're going to be like, okay, nope, we don't. That's not going to go. They have wiggle room, and they're not going to be retarded.
So what do you think the consequence should be? Jail? Or
No, it
should the
should
government
be.
then
And
financially dominate
I
the
don't.
woman and
That's
just take her money
absolutely
if with
not.
a fine?
Absolutely not jail. I think that it should just be something that we prevent at all costs. So if there are like on Twitter, it should not be allowed to be like a big thing on like you should not be allowed to be advertising it. If you're advertising it, it should be hard for men to come in contact with this because I see it all the time
I
now, and
support it
I'm
being
not even looking
regulated,
for it.
like, with the same way gambling is regulated. So I would be in support. I do think that these platforms that are often all ages are completely saturated with porn and adult themed content, and it's wildly damaging and inappropriate. So I fully support having some regulations, around that
Wild.
within
You keep
specific
saying wildly
companies.
damaging. What? Tell me what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
legislating around porn has been wildly damaging.
Legislating anything around sex work is wildly damaging to the sex workers and the Johns themselves. What you're doing is you're just penalizing a behavior that people are going to engage in no matter what. And I get it. That's not a good argument for laws overall. But I was going to take that somewhere else and I just forgot now. So
Yeah, I think you think you were gonna take it somewhere else, but I don't even
no,
think
I literally do think I was going to take it somewhere else, but I told you I smoked weed this morning when I woke up and I'm a little sick. So
Okay, I got 2 comments I'm gonna read. One of
all
them,
right.
porn makes peaceful men.
What makes
Another
peaceful men?
comment, porn makes peaceful men.
That could also be true. Very well. I'm not sure, but I
Another
do think
comment,
that
continue
vice
this
serves a purpose in society.
discussion until Smeth is a skeleton.
It's like the opposite of feederism.
Yeah, you're sucking the life out of me just like a Findom sucks the life out of me.
See, they never really change. Just doing the same shit.
Yeah. SSDD, give me that credit card, BB.
It's on its way, baby. I've actually thought about being a sugar mom. I think that would be fun, honestly. It makes them
Power
feel
over a
powerful. Like
man.
I would love to take a guy out and like treat them and give them money. Like I don't know, but I probably have a
I
different relationship with money where it seems more frivolous because I've had $1,000,000 just poof, get it, lose it, get it, lose it, get it, lose it. Because I was always
like a
spending
black
such
person.
a huge amount of money on drugs that my perception of money is probably warped in how I freely give it away. Because I think as long as I have food and shelter and cigarettes, I
Right.
just don't care too
So
much about
someone like
that.
you should have, if you were a man, you would be seriously at risk for Findom, and you need to be protected from it at all costs.
All right, so I can get down with it's not good for society. I think we should discourage it. I think that even we could go so far as to pressure platforms like X to have more reasonable restrictions because it is completely saturated in spam bots and porn, just like general temptation. And I do think it should be just as if it was a bunch of like gambling
I
advertisements
feel
because
like kids might learn about Findom before they even learn about sex.
that's a very real thing that I'm sure has happened at least once. Like at least once in humanity, there's been a child who knew what Findom was
They will
before he
think
knew what
they
sex
will
was.
think that a pussy is where you put your a
Imagine
pussy.
he's
Insert
losing
your
his
credit card.
virginity and he's just like,
Here's a
cash out,
here's
send,
a
cash out.
a pussy it must have a chip reader in it for a credit card, is what they'll
Yes.
think, you know?
That's true, Findom. All right, what else? Any other
Um,
topics weighing on your mind?
the men Findom is basically also basically like it is the embodiment of the social thing, but it's also just hatred of men. It's men that hate themselves and
Hmm.
women that hate men a lot of
I
times.
do think in sex work, women do, by the nature of the work, develop a lot of resentment towards
Yeah,
men.
that's why I
Like,
love Charlotte Sartor, because you can tell she is my favorite porn star, because you can tell that she is so fucked up or whatever the fuck. I don't know what is wrong with her, but she absolutely loves men, and she loves like um doing what she's doing.
see,
Like
I believe those people exist. They're just the
I
absolute
do, but
minority.
I feel bad. Also, I feel bad for her too because she's being exploited. But
But that's the
yeah,
you have
you can
moving
see
through
it.
life is a process of being exploited and exploiting others in a way that's mutually beneficial. We're always going to be renegotiating those contracts with each other subconsciously or consciously.
Yeah,
But I think we found a good solution to the Findom. I would support if someone if because I fully support things always being 100% consensual. Especially like any clients I had, I would routinely check in. Is this okay? Is what we're doing okay? Is this hurting you? Blah blah blah. I think in that scenario, if someone is being like that, and then the Findom signs a document that's like at any point you can retract from this and like refund or whatever. I think that could be like a good compromise for it to always be perfectly consensual. The only obstacle it would present is if it was like a broke findom who wouldn't be able to actually reimburse. But most
Yeah,
professional
and
findoms would
I
have
feel like a
money.
lot of the women that are doing it will be doing it for some money, and so their ability to actually even engage ethically is gonna be they're gonna have a it's their job, they need you to fucking send. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
just fuck no. You
Well, now I know how to instantly
you
trigger you.
you like fucking Fruit Loops? No, it's fucking store brand cornflakes. Give me my fucking money because I need to pay my fucking rent.
Said now. But I'm retired from the industry. I would not
I'm retarded from the industry.
I would not encourage any young woman to ever. The whole
Have sex
purpose of
with
my
Smeth.
channel is to be don't do what I did in any way ever. Whatever I do, do the opposite of, and you'll have a fulfilling, happy life. I have a fulfilling, happy life anyway because I'm a lucky bitch. But it couldn't. I just got lucky in that way. I did nothing to deserve anything.
Yeah. I don't know what you did, but you seem chill enough.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Well, on that note, do you want to maybe wrap it up? Because I still
Yeah,
have
let's
to
wrap it up. Yeah.
tidy up the place.
So you go by
Go smoke some more weed, write paragraphs to a bunch of
Ruby Space K.
strangers.
Ruby Space K.
It's SpaceX. Ruby's my mom's dog name. It's SpaceX, like Sissy SpaceX. I was in a big Carrie phase at the time. But for a while, people were like, look, she's Carrie's SpaceX daughter. She's not even acknowledging it. It's like, get a clue, bitch.
Oh, I thought you're not so SpaceX. It's not
Yes.
Space K, it's Space SpaceX.
SpaceX, yes. And it's
Well, if you use the
Smeth.
E for the space, then it can't be ek. Space. Fine, it can be however you want. It's Ruby SpaceX.
I think it's a fine name. I actually thought about it
Good.
with some detail because I was like, I wanted something that'd be Googleable and original sounding, but also not really sounding too much like a stupid name. So, what is Smeth?
It's just Seth with an M in it, baby.
Oh, nice.
Welcome to the Smeth Den.
The Smeth Den.
This place
All right.
you
Well,
should never be.
I'm gonna hit end stream on my end.
All right.
So goodbye to my stream.
All right. You're still on my stream.